So COVID for me was just like a lot of other people, something that I'd never experienced before and hopefully something I'll never experience again. Whenever COVID first became, like people were talking about it, I did not think it was going to be what it is today. I actually had a professor that kind of predicted everything happening, like us getting on quarantine, and I just didn't believe him. I thought he was being dramatic. Obviously, he was pretty spot on. Still, whenever it reached the U.S., I didn't think we were going to be shut down. Even when school started shutting down, I still didn't think USI would do it, the school that I go to. Then when we went home and we did school, it was pretty difficult. I wasn't really someone that took online classes, and so then during COVID, I had to kind of adapt and learn how to learn that way as a student. Not seeing my friends and my boyfriend was really hard. I definitely it was different for me because I'm someone that always sees my friends and I always saw my boyfriend, so I definitely feel like I kind of got depressed for a couple weeks. Plus with school being online and having to adapt to that was just really hard. And then over the summer, I actually worked at a hospital. I was a lab assistant, and the job was way harder than it was before. We were 10 times as busy. All our simple tasks would just take longer because we would have to put full gowns on and N95 masks and sometimes even scrub caps or shoe coverings. It was just a lot harder and it got a lot more stressful, especially the hospital was just absolutely full. So that was definitely hard, and we were just like everybody else that was a healthcare worker, we were just working way more than what we normally did. The hours were longer. I worked more days at a time in a row, and that was really hard as a college student, going from online classes and constantly doing stuff at home and then just going straight into work and doing that. It was really difficult and very stressful. I definitely cried more times than normal. And then when we came back to school, it seemed like things were going to be a little bit more normal. When we came back in the fall, just being in person, that wasn't really the case because I felt like I spent more time at my apartment than I did on campus, and a lot more time. And then it was just going around. COVID was on campus, and I ended up getting COVID. It wasn't as bad for me as it was for some people. My main symptom was I got really tired during it, and then I did lose my taste and smell. Once it was over, my taste came back, but my smell is still pretty different. Things just smell different. Some of my favorite scents of lotions and candles, they don't smell the same anymore. While I did have COVID and I was in quarantine, I actually had to be studying for a test that I had. It was a test that would have been in person, but I had to miss it because of quarantine, and I ended up taking it online while I had COVID. I'm sure that my teacher would have let me extend it, but at that point it just kind of seemed like a lot. It just didn't really seem like an option. It wasn't something that I was told. I'm sure if I was a lot sicker than what I was, she would have extended it, but I ended up taking it during COVID and while I had it, and that was really hard. It was really stressful. I guess that my main thing was like worried that teachers wouldn't understand as much. Now, like as it's continued, I've learned that they're very understanding about all that. And right now, I am fully vaccinated. I got the vaccine in January, and now all my friends are getting the vaccine, and it seems hopeful that things are going to go back to normal soon. All my family has also been vaccinated. It kind of seems like things are looking up. I know in my hometown, things are very different from the start of COVID. Everything is starting to go back to normal, but that's not the same as where I go to school at in Evansville, Indiana. But I do think that things are looking up, and hopefully we'll be back to normal within the next year or so.